Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. If you're not familiar with the channel, we have a wonderful Discord community. Everybody is very active. We're helping each other as we hunt for stuff, sharing pics of our collections. We're doing virtual bottle shares and other kinds of events. We're handing out prizes, all that kind of stuff. If you want to get involved in a really cool whiskey club, check out the link to the Discord. Totally free to join, and wonderful people in there. Speaking of wonderful people, some of the guys from our group really love New Holland. So New Holland, if you're not familiar with them, they have this Dragon's Milk Origin brand, and it's bourbon whiskey, but they take a different spin on the mash bill. It's really like malted barley heavy. We don't know the ratios; they haven't published them yet, as far as I know. But they do a lot of malted barley in the mash bill, and it creates a pretty unique profile. New Holland, if you're into the beer world, you may be familiar with their name. They do the whole Dragon's Milk stout beers, the Poet, Tangerine Space Machine. They got a ton of stuff. Well, they're pretty local to me. I live in Grand Rapids, so they have a location in Grand Rapids, and they have one in Holland, Michigan, which is right on Lake Michigan. So when they do exclusive releases, I go to the distillery so that I can wait in line. I usually get there around 7 a.m., wait in line for a couple of hours. Once the doors open at 9, you get to have breakfast and whiskey, which is like, you know what, Saturday morning, 9 a.m., and you're having waffles and whiskey. Like, honestly, what's better than that? That's a pretty cool way to start your weekend. Anyways, I've covered some of their toasted barrel releases in the past, and I went to another one. And Welsh, we actually had a couple of guys show up. Welsh from our Discord was there. He and I hung out for a couple of hours while we waited in line. We sat down at the bar, had some pours, shot the breeze. Jesse from our Discord, his brother was there. It was just a really cool time to hang out with folks. But anyways, I got my hands on what they call the sweater. So they name all their batches, right? This one's the sweater weather. 2025E. 2025 is the year. Designation, which batch of the year? E. So they do a spring release. They did A through D in the spring. They did E, F, and G this fall. So, and then each batch has like a different finish. One of them usually is just a regular toasted barrel, but then they do other stuff like honey barrel finishes, sherry cask finishes, port finishes, all that kind of stuff. Apple brandy. They've done a wide variety of things. This one here is a sherry cask finish. So what they do is they take the batch E, and they split it up. Some of it goes into toasted barrels, some of it goes into sherry casks, and then they blend them back together for the batch, according to what flavor profiles they're going for. So anyways, I waited in line, I picked up batch E and some single barrels and some other stuff from the other guys. But anyways, I wanted to cover this one because 2025, shoot, what was the name of it? What batch was it? I have the bottle somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, 2025A, that's what it was. This was just the toasted barrel. This was the spring's release. As you can tell, the bottle is completely empty. Why? Because really freaking good. I drank half of it, shared half of it. Drank half, shared half. Great bottle. Loved this one. That was just a standard toasted barrel. I think the fall release of last year, the standard toasted barrel was the best one of the batch. I think it was... I want to say it was Briar X, aka Matt, in our Discord that got that one last year. Because I waited in line, I got all of them and split them up among the guys. That one was the best. That one had like a great strawberry sort of a note to it. Anyways, this time I got the sherry cask finish for the fall release. I've already had a few pours of this. I've shared a few pours of it. And now we're going to review it. Sound good? I've got big respect for New Holland and what they're doing with their origin juice. Not just the origin juice, that was like the only stuff of theirs that I did like for a while. Because their beer barrel bourbon is, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I think it's bad. Like, I just think it tastes bad. So initially I was not big on their whiskey until they released their Origin series. And their Origin bonded bottle, which is pretty available these days, highly recommend it. Just to introduce you to their profile, they are a craft distiller. They're bringing a profile to the table that is very unique. There is no other whiskey in America that tastes like their Origin distillate. So for that reason, some people either love it or hate it. I really get down with it, but I have met people who just don't vibe with their profile because it is not like Kentucky bourbon. It's very different. Lots of stone fruit, barrel funk, things like that. But anyways, let's get in here and we'll review 2025E Sweater Weather. It's a sherry cask finish, toasted barrel finish batch. Oh, I should probably note the proof on this is 119.6. There you go. As always, their bottling is immaculate. It's got dragon scales on the bottle itself, so their branding is just top notch. Follow them on like Facebook, Instagram, etc. They post some great stuff. And if you're ever in West Michigan, make sure to go out to Holland and visit their distillery/brewery. Good food, great beer, fantastic whiskey. And also in Grand Rapids, they have a location called the Knickerbocker, which is like a full-blown restaurant with a bar. And that place is legit too. Let's nose it. First thing I get is like bright raisins. Yeah, it's a wonderful raisin note on this. Very fruity on the nose, fruit forward, but you're also getting some of that like barrel funk that you get. If you've ever done like warehouse tours, if you've ever been in like a Kentucky rick house and it's like, it's humid, it's moist in the air and you're smelling the wood and some of the like healthy fungus on that wood, it's that kind of a note. A little bit funky, but good funky. Full disclosure though, for the record, I'm pretty sure New Holland does not do like rickhouse aging. I'm pretty sure they palletize. But that doesn't take away from the funkiness we're getting on this. There's this wonderful like, have you ever had wassail before? It's like a holiday punch. You know, I grew up in a missionary family. I've shared this before. And some of my family was like Eastern. They spent a lot of their time in Eastern Europe planning churches. And so they'd bring home some of the cuisine traditions, baklava, things of the sort, figs, those kinds of dishes. But they'd also bring back like this holiday punch recipe called wassail. I don't know if it originates from Eastern Europe, but it was just that part of the family that tended to make it, for the record. But anyways, this is giving me some of those same notes. See a little bit of cranberry and cherry and cinnamon red hots and clove. That kind of a vibe that it's carrying on the nose, which I definitely get down with. It really does smell like holiday punch on the nose, which is traditionally served hot. Well, let's get in on it. Cheers. Like, come on. It's dynamite. It's got a lot of like, you think sweet and medicinal. So I'm thinking of like loose leaf tea. You know what I mean? Those kinds of notes, like black tea. There's that cherry and holiday punch kind of a thing going on as well. It's very fruit forward, but it is like, the fruit is not just the solo star of the show. It's kind of sharing the stage with this medicinal and herbal kind of a branch to the sip too. And those two things are kind of working hand in hand here. I really do think that holiday punch note is like the best way I could describe this because it has those herbal qualities. It has those spices like your clove and your cinnamon imperials, but it's got the cherry and the cranberry as well. It's got a little bit of tang. It's got a little bit of herbaceous spice to it. Like, what's not to love about that? It is very non-traditional. You don't get the things you tend to associate with bourbon, right? Your vanilla, caramel, brown sugar. Those notes are nowhere to be found here. It is funky, it is offbeat, it is distinctly craft whiskey, but it is also simultaneously fan-freaking-tastic. The more I sit with this, the more that bright raisin note kind of hangs out on the finish, you know, extending, you know, a good 30 to 40 seconds after you've taken the sip. That raisin note is just kind of hanging out there just in the back of your palate. What an enjoyable sip. All things considered, I think I generally just preferred the 2025A personally, but this is a close second for me, for sure. Full disclosure though, I had batches A, B, C, and D in the spring. For the fall releases, I've only tasted the E batch. I have not had F and G. So let me know. I know that some of you guys jumped on their digital sales when they did their online sales opened up. I think it was last week. I know that some of you guys went ahead and purchased some of these bottles. So if you get these in and if you try E, F, and G, I have E, but specifically F and G. If you've tried those ones, let me know what your tasting notes are. I really do want to know. So drop those in the Discord for me, just for some like mental comparison notes. But all around, if you've never had New Holland's Origin juice before, you really got to try it. I think you're missing out. This is some of the best craft whiskey out there right now. And I have a lot of craft distilleries that I really latch onto. This is one of them. Rock Filter, JT Mellick, Middle West Spirits. There's some great distilleries out there doing craft whiskey exceptionally well. Detling. I mean, I'm leaving out probably at least a dozen, if not more, that have impressed me. So moving forward, you know, I really do think that there's some craft distilleries out there that are really starting to make a solid name for themselves. If you are familiar with a craft distillery like them, like New Holland, that's putting out some juice that you think is super impressive, please let me know. That I haven't covered on the channel, please let me know. I really enjoyed our recent series where we did states versus states, where we basically said Kentucky's off the table, but send in samples that are exclusive profiles to your state. And we pitted them against each other in a blind. I didn't even know what was represented. JT Mellick ended up taking the gold in that one. But I know there's just a ton of American craft whiskey out there that is seriously impressive. So if you're familiar with one of them that I haven't tried yet, let me know. And with that, I say cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.